Hi everybody, I'm Todd Banner. Welcome to my channel. Well, back when I was really starting to get into photography in a serious way, which was the late 1970s, my brother was also quite into photography, my older brother. And he had a camera at the time. He had some Canon SLRs, but he also had a Yashica Electro 35. I think it was the EE model. Had a 40mm f1.7 lens. It was a rangefinder. It was a fixed lens rangefinder. This was not really a compact camera. It was pretty big, but he let me use it quite a bit. It had aperture priority automation. Lens was sharp. And Yashica was not the only camera manufacturer to produce these fixed lens rangefinders. Canon had their Canonette. The Canonette G317, it was again a 40mm f1.7 lens. Later in life, my brother actually got a hold of one of those. It was actually, I think, after the digital era started. One of the things, if you do buy one of these old, and it's probably true of a lot of film cameras, he bought that Canonette and it had a light leak. And so the foam sealing around the back of the camera, the flip open door, had degraded, and that happens over time. But he found somebody who could repair that. So if you find an old camera, an old film camera that has a light leak like that, chances are you can find somebody who's able to repair that. Olympus had the XA rangefinder, little compact clamshell design. Again, I think it was a 40mm lens. I think it was, I forget how fast that lens was. But then in 1979, something happened, and what happened was point and shoots arrived on the scene. So the first one that I think came out was Canon's Sure Shot, the AF35M Sure Shot camera, which had, I believe it was a 38mm lens, and it was f2.8. So this was an autofocus point and shoot camera, and it had an infrared autofocusing system. It was a rangefinder, but the rangefinder was shooting a beam of infrared light out and receiving it across a baseline that allowed the camera to triangulate and determine focus. So, of course, fast forward to today, and we've had some fairly nice rangefinder style, because they're not rangefinders, obviously, they're autofocus cameras, but rangefinder style digital cameras, and fairly affordable. I mean, affordable is a relative term, but if you look at this LX100 Mark II, which is kind of a rangefinder style, a lot of people can afford these. I could afford it. Hey, by the way, I picked up this little screw-in hood for this thing. It's made out of metal. It was online, not very expensive. I think it might have been less than 20 bucks, but it was not expensive. But what's been happening lately is these types of affordable rangefinder style cameras seem to be disappearing and on the decline. If you look at the cameras that are currently available, you are quite limited. This LX100 Mark II is still available. In the Panasonic line, they've discontinued the GX9, so their latest Micro Four Thirds rangefinder style camera is no longer available. Interestingly, its predecessor, the GX85, is still available, and it's still available in the 2-lens kit, the 12-32 pancake zoom and the 45-150 telephoto zoom, for about $650 US. That's still a pretty good deal, even though it does have the older 16 megapixel sensor chip. It's still capable of taking fantastic photos. On the Olympus side, or the OM Digital Systems side, seems like if you go onto their site and if you look online, you can't find any of the rangefinder style cameras that they used to have. The last one I think they came out with was the EP7, but if you go onto the OMD site, those are all gone. They have the OM cameras, the OM1, the OM5, the EMD M10. So really, the really only affordable digital cameras right now, I think, are the aforementioned Lumix cameras. The Sony A7C, we're getting into this, we're kind of stretching affordable there, but you have a very nice full frame rangefinder style camera. On the Fuji line, they have discontinued the XE4, which was their rangefinder interchangeable lens camera. And of course the X100V is, I don't know, I don't think it's been discontinued. They're just not manufacturing it right now. And if you want to get a hold of a brand new one, you got to buy it from somebody who's bought it and is turning around and trying to sell it at a profit. The Fuji kind of is the descendant of those film rangefinders. If you look at the Fuji X100, it looks very similar to those fixed lens film rangefinders, which is, I think, part of why there's such an attraction to that camera. And of course, smaller sensor cameras. I mean, here we're, you know, if you want to stretch the definition of a rangefinder style camera, yeah, if you go down to the 1-inch sensor cameras, I don't really consider those rangefinder style, because point and shoots have been kind of that, have that kind of form factor for a long time. And of course, if you want a rangefinder and you have the money, there are unaffordable for most people rangefinders. Obviously, Leica is probably always going to produce rangefinders, whether it's the M line of interchangeable lens rangefinders, or now the Q3. But again, we're talking about stratospheric cost levels, so not everybody can afford those. And really, I mean, I know there's a cachet about Leica and Leica lenses. I mean, yeah, this thing has a Leica lens. It's a nice lens. Is it any better than comparable lenses in other cameras? I don't know. I think there's a lot to what's going on in here as opposed to what's actually real differences. People have their feelings about things, and if you want to believe that Leica lenses are the best lenses, hey, have at it. So yeah, just wanted to talk a little bit about that. I mean, I currently don't have anything except for this LX100 Mark II, and of course I have the ZS100. If you want to call that a rangefinder, I don't. That's just a point and shoot. It's too bad about the GX line. It makes you wonder on the Lumix side how long they're going to be producing the GX85. I suppose if it's selling well, they'll probably keep producing it. It's kind of strange that they discontinued the GX9, but maybe it wasn't selling well and the GX85 still is. It's a good question. Anyway, there's some rambling thoughts for you on the state of the rangefinder style camera market. If you have any comments or any insight into some of these things, is Fuji going to start making the X100V again? I know that discontinuing the XE4 probably upset a lot of people, because I see a lot of folks on YouTube doing street photography with the XE4. And really, for street photography, rangefinder style cameras are, I think, optimal. They just don't stand out as much. Oh, one thing, I did see a comment from somebody, I think it was on Lumix Live when they were running one of their Q&A sessions, saying, why not a rangefinder style Lumix S5 Mark II? Yeah, that'd be cool. I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll see. Anyway, again, if you have any comments, insights, please leave them below. If this was interesting to you, please hit that like button. That's a big help to me. If you're a subscriber, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'm Todd Banner. I will see you next time.